What is going on? It is week 3 of my ultramarathon prep. And instead of giving you guys a week in the life like I did the past 2 weeks, I'm going to show you guys how I structure my week so that I can make it as effective and as efficient with my training, work, free time as possible. So I'm going to finish this bagel and we'll get right to it. Okay, so structuring my week is challenging sometimes because I have, as most people do, pretty busy weeks. And fitting in time to train, to go on runs, to go to work, have time to spend with Kelsey, my family, just have free time for myself and relax and recover can be pretty tricky. So I'm gonna show you on this bad boy, pad of paper, how I structure my week and kind of what that looks like. Okay, so starting off the week with Monday. When I'm looking at my overall schedule, looking at it from a macro perspective, there are certain things that I need to get done or else my training is not going to be as effective and as efficient as possible. Those things need to be locked in on my calendar, right? So those things, because I know what my goal is. My goal right now is to run a 100-kilometer race, 62 miles. The training for that, I am locking it into my schedule and making that a non-negotiable. Because I work Tuesday to Saturday right now, I'm gonna try to get most of my long runs in on the weekends. So that's what I've been doing recently. On Sunday and Monday, I am doing my longer runs for the week. Back-to-back long runs is crucial for ultramarathon training because you need to learn, your body needs to learn how to run on tired legs. That's gonna be really, really important. So long runs need to be on Sunday and Monday. And because this is a trail ultramarathon as well, I also need to be practicing my skill, which is trail running. I'm gonna use one of those runs on the weekends to trail run because typically those take a little bit longer than road runs. So on the weekends, I'll have a little bit more free time that I can play around with instead of having to rush to the trail and then rush all the way back home to shower, change, and then go to work. So you can see Monday is when I typically do my long runs. That's anywhere from 18 miles and up. And then Sundays, I have been doing my trail runs. Right now, those are still staying somewhat light, anywhere between 7 to 10 miles right now, but those are slowly gonna ramp up as we get closer to peak week of ultramarathon prep. Now, for the ultramarathon prep, there is a certain mileage that I should be hitting every single week. Right now, my mileage is about 30 to 40 miles. I think last week I did about 45 miles. During peak week, it is gonna get up to about 65. There's gonna be 2 or 3 weeks that I do 65 miles. So 2 runs is not gonna cut it. I need to get a couple more runs in this week. What I've found best through practice is that 2 more runs throughout the week is typically best for me, makes me feel really good, and helps me prioritize other things that we're gonna talk about in a second. The other 2 runs that we're gonna do, I want to spread them out and space them out so that they don't interfere and I can get the most out of those other runs. So I'm not gonna run on Tuesday, but I will run on Wednesday to give myself a day break. And then the same thing goes for Thursday. Not gonna run on Thursdays, but I am gonna run on Fridays. So I do 2 days in a row, and then in the other 5 days, I have 3 days off. So that is what my thought process is when I'm structuring these runs. And now these runs on Wednesday and Friday, these are typically medium distance runs, anywhere from 8 to 13 miles. And 13 miles may seem like a lot, but for a 60-mile race, 13 miles is practically nothing. So that is what my runs throughout the week are typically looking like right now. Now that we have my training runs out of the way, we can now look at the other things that I need to prioritize. And because I put my health and fitness as a priority, those are gonna be what is next on the sheet. So let's start with the days that I have off. Right now, on Mondays, I am doing doubles. So I usually do some kind of dynamic lower body session, which is typically a little bit lighter, more explosive as to not tax my body. or I do an upper body session. But recently I've been doing lower body sessions, explosive lower body sessions on Mondays. So my lift is going to be explosive lower body. Now, I've talked about this before on different podcast episodes and social media posts, but I do 4 types of workouts throughout the entire week. So I only go to the gym for about 4 to 5 hours a week, depending on how long they run. The first one being my explosive or dynamic lower body. I also have an explosive or dynamic upper body session. I do 1 max effort lower body and 1 max effort upper body. Spacing out the rest of those sessions can be tricky because I want to get the most out of my runs and my lifts. If you're a runner or if you're just in any kind of sport in general, lifting is super important to make sure that we're staying strong, staying healthy, which can prevent injuries, which no one wants. Because if we're not doing the thing that we love to do, we're not going to be in the best mood. We're not going to be bringing our best selves to the table. So staying injury-free is the number one best thing that can come from strength training, which is why you need to strength train. So scheduling out those other 3 lifts, the next one that I want to put on the schedule is my heavy lower body session, because I don't want that to interfere with my long runs on the weekends. Again, I want to make the most out of my training sessions and my runs, so getting the most out of both means that I need to be fresh, somewhat fresh, for each of those individually. I know for myself, I am typically sore for heavy lower body days for about 2 to 3 days after I actually do it. If we look out 2 to 3 days from my Monday long run, that's going to be 1, 2, 3. So I'm not going to be lifting on Saturday or Friday. That means my lower body heavy sessions need to be done on Thursday. So Thursday workouts is going to be heavy lower body, or also known as max effort lower body. Next thing on here, we are going to do our max effort upper body session. So max effort upper body is not going to impact my runs as much, so that can be a little bit closer to the actual run. So I'm going to put that here on Saturday. Saturday lift, heavy upper body. And then the last one that we need to do is our dynamic upper body, which falls into this slot here on Tuesday. Tuesday's lift is my explosive upper body. So this is what my training week looks like. And you have to be really, really strategic about it, like how I did, to make sure that you do get the most out of each individual lift and run or whatever you're doing. Keeping yourself fresh is part of the reason that I mainly do 1-a-days for my training. I try not to double up as much as possible to make sure that I'm staying fresh and keeping my energy levels high for each individual workout. If I ever were to do doubles, I would usually do doubles on the days that I have explosive sessions, because again, those are going to be a lot less taxing, so that I can do an explosive session, whether it be upper body or lower body, and do a run with that, and I'll still have a decent amount of energy throughout the entire day to go to work or to do whatever else I need to do. So now that we have all of our training sessions out of the way, the next most important thing on the schedule, which is going to be work and making money. My shift right now, like I said before, is going to be Tuesday to Friday from 11 to 8:30. And then Saturdays, I'm typically in from 7:30 in the morning until about 3 or 4 in the afternoon. Keeping that in mind, let's think about how I am going to fit these into my schedule. If I'm going in at 11 o'clock, which I typically do almost every day, Tuesday through Friday, I'll have a good amount of time in the morning to get those workouts in. So my workouts on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, those are all going to be done in the morning because I have work until close. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, working until about 8:30 at night. Typically get home around 9ish if I'm staying all the way until 8:30. Saturdays, I work in the morning, so that means I have to do my lift in the evening. So my lift I throw in after work, which is typically going to be around 3 or 4. If I can do it during work, I try to bang it out as quickly as possible so I have some more free time to go home and do whatever I need to do. If Kelsey and I have a date night or something. So on Saturdays, work goes before lift, and I have my lift around 4 p.m. So now that we have my 5 days of work and training all situated, let's look at the weekends. Sunday, I typically go into work also for about an hour because I usually have private training clients that can only see me on Sundays. So typically from 8:30 to 9:30 or 9 to 10, I'm typically doing a private training session with my clients, which means that I can't go on my run unless it's super early in the morning or if I go immediately after. And I'm gonna tell you my thought process on this. So because I have limited time on the weekends to spend with Kelsey, because she has a Monday through Friday job, the only day that we have in common to have a full day off together is Sunday. So I try to get my runs in early on Sunday so that I have plenty of time to spend with her so that we can hang out and spend time together and not feel like we only see each other for like 2 or 3 hours a day, even on the weekends. So Sundays, I do my one-on-one training session around 9 a.m. So that means I do my trail run in the morning. Now, based on the distance or the time of this run, say for example, I'm going to a park that I know is gonna be a 10-minute mile pace. If I'm doing a 7-mile run at a 10-minute per mile pace, that's gonna take me about 70 minutes. So I need to be aware, forwards think, and backwards plan of if I need to get to the gym by 9, I probably need 15 minutes to drive there. I probably need 15 minutes to eat, shower, and change. So that brings me to 8:30 is when I need to be back at the house. It'll take me 10 minutes to drive to the actual park and back. So that puts me at 8:20 is when I need to leave the park. And if it's a 70-minute run, I'm subtracting an hour, which would put me at 7:20, and another 10 minutes, 7:10. With 10 minutes to get there, I need to leave my house at 7 o'clock. That means if I take 30 minutes to get ready, I need to wake up at 6:30. That is how much planning that I need to do to make sure that I am staying on top of my schedule. So let's go over that again. If I have a 9 o'clock client, I typically have to get up around 6:30 to make sure that I get everything in the most efficient way possible. And then the rest of the day on Sunday is basically whatever Kelsey and I want to do. Usually date nights are either on Saturday or Sunday. Sometimes we'll see my parents for dinner on Sunday. Sometimes we'll see her parents for dinner on Sunday. So this free time with Kelsey, I'm still trying to structure everything around that. So after all that is said and done in the morning on Sunday, we have some free time, some personal time. We like to go on hikes, like I said, date nights, parents' houses, anything like that. So that's typically what Sunday looks like. Let's go all the way back to Monday, looking at the beginning of the week and how I structure this. Because I don't see Kelsey on Mondays, I try to get as much out of the way as possible. This is a really, really productive day for me. What I'll typically do, because it's winter right now and it is cold and it gets dark early, I'm running in the morning and I am lifting as soon as it gets a little bit darker out. I try to spread these out as much as possible to make sure that I, again, am giving myself enough time and energy to get the most out of these sessions. So I'll run in the morning, a long run. Recently I've been doing 18 to 20 mile runs on these Monday mornings. I'll try to get that done as early in the morning as possible. But there's one more thing on Mondays that sets me up for success for the rest of the week, which is my meal prep, which I'll link in this video right here. I don't know where it's gonna be, but it'll be somewhere up here. So meal prep is gonna be the next most important thing to do on Mondays. Because I have to rest in between these workouts anyways, I try to throw my meal prep in between these. So if I am gonna go for that run in the morning on Mondays, and sometimes it depends on how I'm feeling. Sometimes if I'm feeling like I wanna do my lift first and then run, then that's totally fine. But sometimes that puts a little bit more pressure on me to get my run done before it gets dark out. So that's why I usually like doing it in the morning, as to not rush myself. But if I'm gonna be waiting anyways, why don't I put something productive in that wait time? Just for the sake of easy math, if I'm running another 10-minute mile on the road, which is a little bit slower than what I usually do on the road, and I'm doing a 20-mile run, that's gonna be 200 minutes, which is just over 3 hours. If I do a pretty early morning run and I leave the house at, let's say 7, 3 hours from 7 is gonna be 10. So if I take an hour from coming back home to when I start my meal prep, that means I'm starting my meal prep at around 11. And because I am really good at meal prep and I time myself and I make it a game, I can get that meal prep done in less than 2 hours. So let's call it 2 hours, starting at 11, and now I'm all the way at 1 o'clock. Sometimes I'll go to the gym right after that. So say I go to the gym at 1:30, I'm there for an hour and a half, and I get back at 3. Now I have from 3 all the way down to when I go to bed at 11 for free time. And what I like to do in that free time is use that time effectively and efficiently so I can plan my week and have some kind of good social media content strategies so that I can keep providing the type of info that I want to be providing to the world and to my audience. Often on Mondays also, I'll cook dinner for Kelsey because she's working. So I like to invite her over, I cook some dinner for her, and that way we get to spend a couple extra hours on a weeknight, which we typically don't get, which is really, really special. That's how I plan my week. It's very strategic. I think forward and I plan backwards, looking at everything ahead and making sure that I am optimizing my schedule to the best of my ability. I do that to make sure I am training efficiently, getting the most out of my sessions, and feeling the best about how my week is going. Because that's really what it's all about, is having a mental grasp on how we're doing. There's a couple famous phrases I like about planning. 1, if you fail to prepare, you better prepare to fail. And 2, everyone has a plan until you get punched in the face. So you need to be planning this stuff out, but also be aware that you'll need to be flexible. And if something is sore or you're injured, you need to work around that. You're not gonna do a heavy lower body session if you just sprained your ankle 2 days ago. Be mindful of how your body is feeling, be present, be grateful of how your body is if you're feeling healthy right now, and make sure that when you are looking at your schedule, prioritize the things that you say matter. If you say that free time, family, quality time matters the most, then structure your sessions, structure everything else around that. If it's a priority and if it matters to you, you'll make time. Make time in the morning so you have plenty of time for the rest of the day to spend with loved ones. Be productive in your downtime, right? Don't just sit around playing Xbox or watching TV. You can do that stuff, but if you know that you have something to do, like your meal prep, do that in a time that is going to be most efficient. That would typically be downtime. So hopefully that helps. That's how I structure my workouts throughout the week. I'll catch you guys later. This has been episode 3 of Love the Process. I'll talk to you soon, and have a great rest of your week. See ya.